If you've ever got your blood work done, specifically your testosterone levels checked, and they have come back in the normal range, and your doctor's saying, well, I mean, listen, you're within the normal range, we can't really help you, then this video is for you, because this is exactly what I went through. I thought I was going out of my mind. I felt insane. I felt unworthy. I didn't feel like I was being treated correctly from my doctor. And I know not all doctors are created equally, but a lot of men I hear all the time are telling me, and I see it online, that their levels have come back normal, yet they just feel like trash. So let's get into the video. So a while ago now, when I first decided to embark on TRT, before I got to this point, I just didn't feel right? I felt clinically depressed. I felt like I had no hope, zero joy in my life, no matter what remedies I tried to do myself. I was trying to take magnesium, zinc, I was meditating every day, I was doing breath work, I was going on walks, and all these things do help and have a purpose in our lives, of course, but it wasn't the thing that was tipping me over the edge to make me feel any better. I felt lonely, I felt disconnected emotionally from my wife and my family. I had no energy, my mood was on the floor, I was very irritable and extremely sensitive, and I just had no hope of living, to be honest. I couldn't even get through workouts, I'd done zone 2 cardio, sprinting, runs, training, weights, resistance training, bodyweight workouts. No matter what I did or how long I did it for or how many days a week I did it for, I was just trashed. I was trashed after like the first 2 exercises, and I was beginning to think something was catastrophically wrong with me. And then I put it down to my age. I was like, oh, well, I'm 40 now, 41. This is quite normal. This is what happens to guys my age. And I think a lot of men, and one of the reasons I'm doing this video is a lot of men out there just accept that they just feel like shit. And then feeling like shit becomes the new normal because that's all you know, And a lot of people just think, well, this is part of the aging process. I'm, meant to not have as much energy. Getting up in the morning is meant to feel god awful. Having a reduced or zero libido, well, I just guess that's the way it is. No, my friend, that's not the way it is. And for me, I fortunately am relatively educated in the health space. I have more of an interest than your average Joe, I would say. I've researched a lot, and I had a feeling that my testosterone levels were not optimum, to say the least. So what I did, I took the matter into my own hands and I got my blood work done. And that's where the mystery, or so-called mystery, got solved. So I got my blood work back and I was reading it. Now, this is different for everybody. Some doctors or clinics or physicians won't actually allow you to see your blood work. I don't know where you are in the world watching this, but everybody's different. Every country seems to be different. Some doctors will just look at your labs and say, yeah, your testosterone's fine. Just get on with it. Thanks for coming. See you later. Bye. Where other doctors are more hands-on, they'll let you see the results. They'll talk you through the results and actually ask how you feel. Now, my results came back. My testosterone came back, both free and total testosterone, on the low end of normal. Now, a doctor ordinarily, depending who they are, but a lot of doctors will say that this is a pass, and therefore you do not need any hormone optimization, in other words, TRT, to help you feel human again, to help you feel like a worthy man who wants to live the rest of his life, Now, it's common, like I said, for doctors to say you're fine. But it's not down to anyone to tell you how you feel. You know how you feel. And it's different for everybody. I know men who are on the low range of normal, like I was, and they actually feel okay. But I actually do think a lot of men just learn to adapt to feeling like death. They learn to just adapt to feeling like crap. It becomes the new normal. It's only when you're sort of out the jar, when you're reading the label, you realize, oh man, like when you make a change, you then realize, oh my God, I felt so bad it became normal for me. So I'm going to go through what happened with me, and hopefully you can resonate with this. Maybe you'll resonate with it. So of course, the best thing to do is get your testosterone levels checked, And if you've had this done, okay, then cool. If you've not, bear with me till the end of the video and I'll talk you through that. But naturally, when you get your testosterone levels checked, you will have what they call a total testosterone check and your free testosterone levels checked. Now, for those of you who don't know, total testosterone basically is the pile of testosterone. That's the only way I can put it in a layman's term. The complete pile of testosterone that you have floating around in your bloodstream. The thing with total testosterone is that most of it is tied up, right? It's unusable. It's kind of like having a savings account, right? And you've got this big stack of cash in there. You've got $500,000, $500K sat in your savings account, and you can't do anything with it. That's kind of the only analogy I can think of on the spot to talk about total testosterone. It's not based off of how you feel. It's just how much you have in your bloodstream. So using the savings analogy, you can brag about the amount that you have, but you can't spend any of it. So it's kind of similar with total testosterone levels. You might be in the normal range or even the high end normal range, but you can't do anything with it. It doesn't really make a difference as to how you feel because it's tied up anyway. It can't be used. It's just in your bloodstream, if that makes sense. Where free testosterone is basically the cash in your pocket, right? That's how much you can spend. This is how much of the testosterone is free, is able to be used so you can actually feel like a man and feel human. And free testosterone is really important because that dictates your libido, your mood, your purpose in life, your drive, your mental capacity, whether you've got mental fog or not, your, depression. It all goes on. It's all tied to basically your vitality and way of living and your energy and how you feel in the morning. That's really the most important one, is free testosterone. So just looking at my lab report here, my total testosterone was at 286 nanograms per deciliter, okay? Now, according to this lab report, and every average sort of slightly changed depending on the lab you use, but the reference range, normal reference range for the lab I was using was between 250 to 1100 nanograms per deciliter. So you can see mine was 286, right, which is my total testosterone levels. So that is low normal, but it's still considered normal. It wouldn't really matter if my testosterone levels were, 700 nanograms per deciliter if I still feel like shit, right? It's because it's tied up. That's just the amount I've got. So already I'm on a losing streak because this is borderline clinically below average, right? I'm just scraping in with a hair basically. And then you've got the free testosterone, okay? Now the lab report I'm using, the free testosterone, is between 35 to 155 picograms per milliliter. My free testosterone at the time came back at 46.3 picograms per milliliter. And this is the vital reading. So yes, I am normal, low end normal, just scraping by, but this is why I felt like death. This answered all my questions, okay? Because 46.3 is low. Yet here's the thing. This is where doctors read the blood work, some of them do, who aren't overly educated, and they'll see your total testosterone and say, well, you're within the limits. You've got 700 or whatever it might be. Even mine of 286. You've got plenty of total testosterone, and your free is, yeah, it's not super high, but it's within the normal range, so I think everything's okay. But that's what makes you feel like death, is the free testosterone. That's why at that level it confirmed, oh, I have no libido, I have no drive, I'm depressed all the time, I have no energy, my recovery is terrible, I can barely do any workouts, I'm constantly fatigued, constantly tired, constantly depressed and moody, constantly irritable, constantly sensitive, constantly vulnerable. It goes on and on and on, and it makes perfect sense. Why? So you've got to remember that your total testosterone means nothing, really, in theory, if we're just breaking it down in layman's, right? It doesn't matter if your doctor comes back and says, listen, you've got 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. You have high levels of total testosterone. It's like, yeah, but what's my free testosterone at? And if they come back and say, well, actually, your free testosterone's at 30, at 35, which is literally the clinical borderline low limit, then no wonder you feel like shit. The other thing, what made my testosterone levels, I guess, plummet, okay, was my lifestyle and the stress I was living. Now, I was traveling all the time, living in hotels or Airbnbs, constantly on the road, traveling the country. Extremely stressful, catching flights every single week, flying across multiple time zones, meeting, 4 to 5 people every day, trying to talk to them. I'm on all the time, checking in places, checking out places, packing, repacking, making food on the go. It's very, very stressful. Getting Ubers, getting rental cars. It's just non-stop, and it's a lot on the nervous system. And that's without any additional external stress going on in my life, right? I've got family problems going on. I might have an issue with my wife. I've got kids, all that type of shit. Nothing changes. That's on top of all the lifestyle. So you have to look at your lifestyle, right? And say, well, what's going on in my lifestyle? How busy am I? How stressed am I in work? What's my support network like at home? And for me, mine was just, again, on the floor. It was absolutely everywhere. The problem is when you're living in a height of stress, which you might already know, you live in what's called fight or flight, okay? Which is basically your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, and your adrenaline go through the roof. And you're basically just living on this edgy nervousness all the time. You never feel relaxed. But again, the reality and the truth is that most people, not even men, most people don't realize they're living in fight or flight because they just become accustomed to it. Sometimes you get those people, and I was the same, who are just in a very, very, the high all the time and the fast pace. And I was kind of like that. It's just your nervous system. I wasn't grounded. And you do get people who are more excitable, but I realized in myself, I should be more grounded than this. I'm on edge. And when I actually stopped and listened and felt what my body was telling me, trying to talk to me and tell me, I was just rattling all the time. I was nervous. But most people, and it's not, I'm not throwing shade, were just distracted because it's just go, 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 go. Get up in the morning, sort the kids out, take the kids to school, make breakfast, get to work, Zoom calls, meetings, traveling, airport. It's non-stop. Get home, go to the gym, try and work out, put the kids to bed, have dinner with the wife, go to bed. It's just rinse and repeat at the weekend. Kids soccer, kids football, kids volleyball. It's just non-stop, right? And that's when you become lost and you don't really feel what's going on. And I was a prime candidate for that. That is exactly what was happening to me, which doesn't help your testosterone levels. Now, of course, we can't hide the fact that genetics play a huge role, and age. As we age, our T naturally drops. It's not going to get higher unless you're using hormone optimization and TRT. That's just the reality of it. So if you're in this boat and I'm speaking to you and it's resonating with you and you're struggling to get through workouts, you're eating clean, you're feeling soft and pudgy, you're no energy, no libido, you're cranky, you're having arguments all the time, you're not feeling good and you're a dad, I recommend that you just get your testosterone levels checked. I would highly recommend just to get your free testosterone levels checked. I don't know where you are in the world, but some blood tests just come naturally hand in hand where you get your total and your free testosterone. Other places you can just choose either or. But for you, you really want to look at your free testosterone levels and see where you're at. The second thing is just start tracking as well, like how you feel in the morning. Be truly honest with yourself. When I wake up, how do I feel? How long has it taken me to come around in the morning? And that was a massive sign for me. No matter if I'd worked out the day, it was worse when I worked out. But some mornings, it took me like an hour and a half to get out of bed, and I'm not even joking. If I had a workout, sometimes it would take me like 2 hours just to get out of bed and to drag my ass, to iron my work clothes, to prep all my... It was using every single ounce of energy. It was just the gas tank was empty. So monitor how your libido is. Are you getting morning wood when you're getting up in the night to go for a pee, or in the morning when you wake up? It's not always a sign that you have low testosterone, but you sure as damn know if you're getting morning wood, it's a pretty good sign that your testosterone level's fairly okay. Although, don't just go off that, go off the data, of course. Another thing is, like, how's your performance? How's your performance in the day, in your job, in your business? Have you got brain fog? Are you clear? Can you, formulate your words and conversations? Are they flowing properly? Is your brain firing properly? Or are you kind of foggy and just behind the beat? Also, what's your sleep like? Mine was terrible. Are you waking up multiple times a night at 2, 3, 4 in the morning with like terror, panic attacks, That means, again, your cortisol and your adrenaline is high, which is an actual symptom and side effect of low testosterone. Is that what's happening to you? Don't just go off the gym performance, but the gym will tell you a lot about your power output. Where's your strength at? Where's your recovery at? Another thing I've written down here is to get your estrogen checked, or estrogen, wherever you are from in the world listening to this. That is a big sign as well. If you're not taking hormone optimization and testosterone, men do have high estrogen levels. Just genetically, sometimes people get that. If you are taking TRT, then you need to have a look at your E2 and find out where your estradiol is at, right? If you need an aromatase inhibitor to help bring that down, which I can do more videos about in the future. So if you're tired of hearing doctors and physicians tell you that you're fine and everybody else say, just change your diet, bro, and just, work out smarter, not harder, and get more rest and drink more hydration, just hit subscribe. Leave a comment, leave any questions you've got down below. I was going to say downstairs then, down below in the comments, and let's engage. Yeah, let's grow this channel. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.